Thank you for joining us today. For the members, Jacqui is the Managing Director of the Walshe Group and a member of the Tourism Restart Task Force, which is an agency that's been put in place during the COVID-19 pandemic to provide an action plan and timeline for restarting tourism. So over to you, Jacqui. Thank you.
Thanks, Lucy, and thanks for the opportunity, everybody. So in the Visit USA context, I'm involved with Walshe Group, MD of Walshe Group for a long time, and we've been in the North American market right from the start. Our company's been going for one of these ones that have been going for decades, and one of our very first accounts was Pan Am back in the day when Pan Am still flew. So that's evolved over the years, and these days our US involvement is around Delta and Hawaii primarily, and pre-COVID with NYC and company. So if there are New Yorkers on the call still at the stage, a shout out to you. Hope you're going okay there. But over the years, because we've been around a while, we've had some real, we've encountered these major disasters and challenges before. And as a result of that, we diversified a bit geographically and also in terms of our involvement in other sort of tourism initiatives and business. This led to our being involved with the inbound tourism sector. And through that, I've been on the board of the Australian Tourism Export Council, which is an organisation whose members are, half of them are inbound tour operators and the other half are the, are local Australian suppliers. So, and one of the challenges with the, the Australian tourism industry is there is a multiple number of groups that have effectively all been lobbying. They've all been doing their thing over the years. Everyone's kind of shouting for a share of voice with government. So when COVID happened, it was a great opportunity for all the different tourism organisations and membership organisations to get together. And so there's 11 of us on this task force, and we all come from different tourism groups representing a different group of members. So apart from ATEC, we have of course, travel agents represented at AFTA, very ably by Screw Turner, CEO of Flight Centre, so he's definitely a strong voice for that sector. We have the tourism and transport, we have accommodation, hospitality, we have business events, we have cruise industry, we also have chambers of commerce, which represent a number of other tourism businesses on the ground, so really good coverage. And we have great access to government. We report into the COVID Commissioner, Nev Power, and as well as the Tourism Minister. So every time we meet, our minutes go to both those officers, and both Nev Power and Simon Birmingham have joined our meetings a few times. And to answer your question, Bruce, we actually met on Monday with the Tourism Minister. So we are meeting. Initially, it was weekly and more recently fortnightly, and we had a little bit of gap because we wanted to make sure that the Minister was available. The big news, of course, was most recently for the Australian tourism sector is JobKeeper. That has been an important measure that has kept a number of businesses across the economy open, and it was a vital one for tourism and travel. So the extension until March next year is absolutely intended to meet tourism and travel. They didn't state it in that way, but it's clear that was the intention. But the task force, that was one of the early initiatives, but our role is really to make sure to create certainty for business. Everyone wants to know when the borders are opening. We released early an aspirational timetable because we wanted to try and ensure that we kept pressure on the government to make sure that there were reasonable steps taken to reopen borders, both state borders within Australia and obviously a safe reopening of international as soon as it's possible to do so, without going backwards. This is one of the things that we've been really trying to discourage. That we do have to live with unfortunate back steps like we've seen in Victoria, and those are serious and we can't ignore those. But we don't want to take any pressure off in terms of that forward progression. So Tasman bubble is now a little bit delayed. There was meant to be pilots operating between Wellington and Canberra in July. That was really far down the line before the setback. Now we'll have to wait until after the New Zealand election before we're likely to see that coming again. But the intention will be hopefully that we will achieve that before the end of the year. And then, as it was noted, the Australian government has talked about international travel in their budget commencing from January. That won't be full border opening, we don't anticipate, but it will be safe border reopening where possible in a managed, planned way. So health and safety, protocols around quarantines and testing, tracing, health, safe, clean environments will still be to the fore. And so at a task force level, we're working to find proper ways of helping to assist the industry to make that work. I mean, one of the big concerns we have is for the distribution channel, both inbound and outbound, because while domestic is a little bit of the answer, definitely not the total answer, there are a lot of businesses that were very reliant on international travel, in both directions, and that is still a challenge. So we're working on some managed tourism strategies. They're in their early stages. They're working through testing and protocols. Some Australian companies are involved in this area, probably internationally as well, but we're focused on the Australian side of that, so that we can help different industry groups get travelling again. That might be, students initially. There'll be some corporate travel that is happening. We were happy to see that out of the US, we're already seeing some of the production filmmakers come down to Australia, again in a managed, quarantined way. But that's definitely really helpful to see the signs of that. And we're going to, I guess, continue to do everything we can to focus on the restart part of our mandate as a task force. So it's a really, I guess we're all very passionate, and we've all got a lot of members in our collective who really need to see our industry start again. So we're going to continue to in that end, and the task force is due to continue to meet until initially it was when the borders reopen, which at that part was intended to be full in January. Whether or not I don't think maybe we'll achieve full January, but certainly we'll be meeting very regularly for the rest of the year to make sure things open up again. Now, I don't know if there were any more specific questions. Just a little bit more then, Bruce, on that second part of your question. He was present. He's sounding pretty, I think he's got a lot on his plate in the tourism trade portfolio that he has. They're obviously very happy to see JobKeeper helping the industry, and they know it will. It is very focused on the retention of workers and jobs. So it's helpful for business, but definitely it's driven by a desire to see as many people as possible keep their jobs, and in our case, in tourism and travel. We have talked to him about the need to help the industry restart when it's time, because once we know what the deadlines or the timetable is for the borders, we're hoping to get at least 3 months' notice of when any borders due to open, because we know that we're going to need the support to get going again, investing, marketing, bringing people back and adding to workforces, because while there's been hibernation and downsizing, once things are ready to go again, we're all going to need employees back to help with that. So we're going to continue to request as a collective that the government doesn't think that that's the end. The JobKeeper is absolutely welcomed. We're very grateful for government for being willing to do it. As we know from across the Tasman, the New Zealand government has not yet agreed to give tourism a lifeline beyond this month, which is going to be very tough for them. But certainly we're hopeful that Australia, we can keep that voice going to encourage more support as we go. We did talk about it. We talked about it a lot. No answers beyond us talking about it and sharing the concern that, tourism and travel has been far worse affected than a lot of other industries. But one step at a time. For now, we are happy about JobKeeper, and we'll work as things get closer towards maybe end of year into March. Thanks, Lucy.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jacqui.
Any updates on the group?
We may have one more question. My apologies. Have there been any more updates in relation to the cruise industry?
Oh, yes. I didn't mean to mention that. As far as the big scale cruising, international cruising, that's still a wheeze away. But Serena Bratton, who from Ponant is on the task force, and she has been a really good advocate for small ship cruising, expedition cruising within Australia. So initially, there's I guess, hope that expedition cruising will be possible, but it will be within Australian waters, so potentially to the Kimberley from West Australia, but it will be hopefully a start. And she is working hard to try and get the definition of the maritime sector sufficient that Australia-New Zealand cruising might be possible, certainly with the Trans-Tasman. The bigger ship is still a ways away.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jacqui. There's just one more question here. Carolyn's actually asked if you feel that it's been a positive experience of working together as a group on the task force, and is this a model for beyond COVID?
Oh, definitely. Once we've, there's a little bit, because it's virtual, it's always adds some extra challenges in terms of settling in, because we've got some very disparate groups and very different. Tourism and travel as a sector is enormous, and there's so many different types of businesses that fall into our category. One of the challenges that tourism isn't actually listed as an employment category on any of the sort of the government lists. But I think it was needed. I think we all felt we'd have a stronger voice if we had one voice. So I think that's been one of the real positives. And I think as we start to achieve some small wins and gains, I think there is a really good spirit of collaboration and positivity as a collective. So I think it has been a positive experience in what is quite a negative, challenging environment that we're operating in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jacqui. We really appreciate you putting your time into being part of that task force and for taking the time this morning to come and speak to us. So thank you very much.
No problem.
So everyone, we hope today has provided some insight into the landscape of the Australian travel industry, as well as the overwhelming desire of the Australian travel industry to bounce back and the plan in place for doing so that's being worked on. I'd like to thank our speakers again today for their time and invaluable advice and support. It is a difficult time for us all. Visit USA are here to support you in any way we can. Please send us an email, give us a call. We are here and we are ready to help. We will be making this webinar available on our website shortly if you would like to share it with your industry colleagues. We're more than happy for you to do so. So in summing up, thank you for joining us today. I know there are many of you in varying time zones watching this, so thank you for staying up late. And a very special thank you to our team at Visit USA, the Visit USA Exec Committee and the Visit USA Committee in itself. We've been meeting every month and making sure that, as Jacqui said, working as a team to do good work for our members. So again, we are here. That brings our virtual Visit USA mid-year review to a close. Thank you so much for your time and enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Thank you.